Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is a mastery empowerment course. And as we continue to talk about the higher self connection, we are in for a beautiful course today with Mahalia Michael. She is deeply connected to the whales and dolphins and the Lyran Angelic Council. Let's welcome Mahalia to this beautiful course. Hello, Mahalia.
Hello, Lauren. Wonderful to be here with you again. Well, on the
Yes.
Team Network.
So beautiful. We love this. This is really about melting into love to raise the Kundalini of the mother. And the course is titled Lyran, Lullabies, Mudras, and Sigils for Ascension. But more importantly, it's soul bliss. So let's talk about this soul bliss and what's going on as we make this higher self connection.
Well, leading up to this moment, Lauren, has been a work of understanding the human technology as a musical instrument, as this expression of light and sound. And so when we look at our deep-rooted traumas, we look at the physical nature of how to reorganize the brain in a way that we go into higher brain mechanisms, then we express as a coherent person, a coherent being. And in that coherence, then we want to look to the greater coherence, which is the soul connection, which that soul bliss unification connected with Source, Almighty Creator, whatever people want to call it, the incredible God Self, and the grantor of dominion of this human body. So what I discovered over the 10 years with developing brain bliss and assisting many people to return to a more natural harmony in their brain and body from their traumas is then we look at the deeper underworld, the deeper subconscious areas where we may still have a deeper disconnect from soul, from our true soul, the sacred heart opening, and then what that means to really trust a bigger God, to really let more source in and flow through us. And it comes from a place of innocence and a surrender and a curiosity and enthusiasm.
When you say deeper into the subconscious, that is really amazing because that is all the belief systems, the layers and layers of belief systems, and the ways that we talk to ourselves, the ways that the ego can speak to us in ways that limit us or diminish us. And so when we're done with that, that's where the bliss is. When we are free and liberated from those belief systems, we're open to so much more. We are infused with ideas and inspiration and solution and creations. So what would you say for someone who is just still, I mean, there's so many layers of this that we can say we've been doing this for years and years, but when do we get to this point where we truly love ourselves so much that we can recognize the belief systems? It seems like for those of us doing it, we get better at it and quicker at it. We get able to recognize how we're talking to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes we get a little judgmental of ourselves. So that's a key component too, this non-judgmental
Yeah.
self-observation.
It's all of that, Lauren, as well as catching ourselves telling a story, having an inner monologue or that narrative that may not be the full truth. And in the inner monologue, whether it's creating pain in the body and limitation, or disconnect in relation with others, or like for me, through my healing of trauma, I used to isolate myself a lot and probably keep smaller in my connection to source, and it's uncomfortable. So if a person notices, for one, maybe a story they're making up, because the brain automatically is wanting to create. If we are not mastering the mind, we are going to create a bit of a interesting ideas or stories. So again, going into the body, does it feel light or heavy? If it feels heavy, then we have clearly created a chemical reaction which has to do with that separation from our soul ultimately, and from that high space of God source. So um, the Lyrans have really helped me over the many years to keep returning to light and keep returning to that unconditional loving space. And through them and the whales and dolphins, they have brought through incredible sounds and frequencies to keep amplifying and creating coherence within my brain and body and those that have come to this work. And in this guidance and in this process, we realize that like there's that ultimate light and that ultimate source. And when we say yes to that, more of life can pour through us. So in this transmission, teaching, sharing is these lullabies that assist to really awaken that inner child within, the mature child, as here we are adults now, how to return back to the Sacred Heart and back to our soul. Lullabies that aren't here to put us to sleep, rather they're here to ignite and awaken that inner connection. And then the mudras or hand gestures, I'm going to apply 3 today that are going to help to adjust the physical field in people watching this, to assist their spine to open, the sacred heart to connect, the brain and heart to connect. And with the sigils, or sacred, basically art or print that has to do with passing a intention. These 3 I have for us have to do with asking very simple, fun questions to get us out of those stories we may be creating and into our soul connection. So they all come through as life flows to us. So everyone has the ability to sing lullabies, to what sounds like a light language is a soul language. And as we trust in the bigger source, which I call the sapphire blue ocean of devotion, we feel God as that ocean, the one who's the grantor of dominion of this beautiful body temple that reflects as the soul animating this physical structure. In my view, it's a song that's being transmitted, this human body song, which comes out in colors, which would be like a rainbow in the chakra system, that when they're all spinning and awake and alive, we are one then with source. We are in alignment, and then people can recover very quickly. They can restore quickly, and it's not about efficiency or speed, but that's how um, it's like the laws of the universe. Everything really then comes together. So I'm not this body, I'm the soul connected with source, and I'm here to sing the sacred songs from my heart to express as love. And as I express as that love, it does, we are of the body of Mother Earth. I am this electrical current on the body of Mother, and as I awaken in my own Kundalini connection to soul and God, then I'm assisting her to have her like a neurotransmitter, which would be me singing music, just like the trees or the flowers or the animals. Everything has electromagnetic connection, and there's this animating field there that is that bliss. It is that ecstasy, and it's a fun adventure. It's about being curious and enthusiastic and willing to really travel to that innocent place and not judge the self, because we didn't know we were separate until we know we were separate. So coming at it from that innocence.
That is the innocence, yes. And this is the beauty and the higher self, which is neutral and not judgmental. We can hear that voice speak to us, and we can be receiving the guidance from the higher self in that way. Beautiful. So, Mahalia, you are a sonic shaman. And so you've got lullabies and mudras and sigils that you're going to share with us today. And these actually connect us even more on a multi-dimensional level. Can you explain a little bit more about what's going on with these and really your whole connection with this singing, ever since you were a child?
Hmm. Well,
Mm.
the knowing that the light was always there, and with the singing, really, most of my adult and teenage years and youth, babe, child years, I not use my voice very much. I really wasn't. I couldn't sing in tune. I couldn't carry a note. So I never thought to use my voice as a tool for awakening or for assisting brain and body coherence and to assist others to release their traumas until I experienced the neurofeedback and awakened that ability. And again, I want to remind people that this isn't a structure, this isn't a function of my left hemisphere in thinking. It's a function of allowing spirit to flow. It's everyone's birthright to allow their inner music, their sacred soul sound to sing through them. So again, what I've learned is the sounds we produce when they're done with that loving intent, just as the whales do and are here for us always through the sapphire blue ocean, which is God animating the waves, which is, as I sing, I'm animating wave into the physical structure here, which seems very solid, which is particle or uh, magnetism. And when we realize we're actually 99% in this field, we're only 1% physical particle here, um, then our attention can naturally go to the 99%, which is when, as you just said, it allows us, if we then are reverently listening, we will get that guidance to perhaps let out some light language, let out a little hand gesture or mudra. It's not a specific science. It is done from that place of love. So the dolphins also remind us of the power of frequency and of playfulness, joy, love, working in community, connection with self and others, and that self-healing mechanism. So what I do, what I'm going to be doing here today is basically working in that 99% field. So anyone watching or listening, which we can do without me even using my voice, is there to, with the intention, adjust the field to lightly open, to add more space, more freedom. And if those watching will intend to connect with their sacred heart, which is at the back of the spine, anywhere between an inch above the heart to 3 inches below the heart, which is where the thymus gland is here, the seat of the soul, where we connect it all in. If people would bring their attention there as I'm sharing and transmitting, and just be curious to see what happens. Some may feel something, some may not, and it's okay. It's think of it as from the subconscious underworld, where there is the depth of the darkness, uh, where it's so dark it becomes light again. To have the willingness to look, go deep and look into what I'd call the shadow frequency, which through that creates an imposter. The imposter is the altered self separate from God or soul, which thinks it is God, thinks it is in charge, and really appears as though it really doesn't care about anything that's going on around them or within. There's effort, but there's also deep pain and suffering from that place. So if we're willing to look there, when the sigils, the mudras come through, when the lullabies come through, it can take some people into the underworld a little bit. so that they can find their soul song. And for others, it may be that they feel the lightness and they feel more of that connection. So we're all like beautiful snowflakes and or mandala patterns. And so as we transmit sacred geometry, sacred math, sacred codes that come from the source, then like a kaleidoscope that is a sacred being, if there's dusty particles or distortion on it, there's going to be a cleaning. There's going to be a purification. And it's wonderful if we want to be curious and enthusiastic about it and willing, because what people fear the most is that connection with their light, which is their beautiful soul and the beautiful space of source. That's the most heavenly of heavenly experiences, when then we bring down heaven on earth. That we move beyond separation, we move beyond the habits of the subconscious, which were programmed between about ages birth to 6. And for example, when I was 3 years old, I almost died of pneumonia and was left in the hospital. But my parents, as I'm crying, not sure what was going on, my parents left me for the night there. So that idea of separating from the mother and the father became patterns in my life, where anytime I felt a disconnect from a woman or a man, I felt that terror deep down, and it was buried so deep until it came to the surface. And then so I would behave and create reactions that would represent that terror, but I didn't know why. I didn't know where it was coming from until I had enough of the light and sound to let me look at it and have loving people around me to help me look. So we if it comes up, it's a good thing, and we want to embrace. Actually, I'm going to start with these little sigils, okay? And because they're gonna pose 3 really fun questions, and to assist people right away with this interview that we're having, and because for some this could be new information, and others they've heard it, but I would like to assist all to go to that next level of unconditional love for themselves, and that bond, that sacred bond with the soul and the temple within. So the first question I want to present, when it comes to the stories we make up in our mind, and you catch yourself creating a story and you notice it because there may be heaviness in the body, is to ask ourselves, what is the bigger truth here? And on this piece of paper, looks like some squiggles and different colors. I drew these this morning very naturally and very effortlessly. There isn't a thought around when we let spirit come through. It comes as an automatic reflex. Just pick up that color, pick up that color, pick up that color, take it to the paper. So someone else's sigil may look different from this. It's not about so much the shapes and the colors as much as it is the intention. So from my sacred heart, my soul, asking the question, what is the bigger truth here, will assist you to dive deeper into your soul space. Because the bigger truth is you are creation. You are creator with ultimate creator and creation. And so this can be an instant adjustment, instant awakening to out of the story and into a higher truth. Okay, so I invite people to ask this question anytime, day or night, to take them closer home to their sacred temple and the sapphire ocean of God. And then when we ask the question, what is the bigger truth here? The universe will show us, right? Usually Lyran, you may have experienced that. I'm sure lots of people, if not everyone, has, where there's a synchronicity or there's a message. To look for the messages. Some people see angels. They experience magic. They'll get a phone call from a friend that they were thinking of, and then all of a sudden that is the next message. So this next sigil is, what is the serendipity here? So the other day I had an amazing experience, and most of my serendipities come with nature, with animal totems, and when I'm needing a deeper awakening or a deeper message. So the other day, a friend was teaching me how they they wanted the dishes done and creating a system, let's say, okay, so creating a system and a very efficient system. And then, so there had to be a willingness from my end where I've spent almost 50 years doing the dishes a certain way. And I enjoyed how how I did them. But in order to live as community, and as dolphins do, we work together. So if his system is better and more efficient than mine, then I would want to look at it. However, the separate self of me got a bit, a little bit defensive. I like how I do the dishes. Well, that's another story. I'm just sharing this as a very simple but real life example. And so I came to my beautiful front door of where I live, and there were hundreds of ants, hundreds I'd never seen. I've been walking to this front door many times, hundreds of them pouring on the pavement. And I looked, and it was like a dream had awakened right there, all these ants. And what is the serendipity? I ran in, I had to Google what is ant medicine. It is, of course, about working together in community, in support of one another, of the greater good and efficiency. So boom, I got it. I got the serendipity. Then I'm now doing the dishes more efficiently. So that's like, the 3D experience up to 4D and 5D, where we have that willingness and to look. Where is the magic? Where is the message? Where is the synchronicity? And how is the greatest Almighty Creator, the source of all, really, really working on your behalf, on your side, having your back for you to awaken? When we come to our creative place, that one where we can transmit in such a way that we can remove those mountains and we move the field, the 99% field, on God's behalf, as that soul bliss, as that soul love, then you know that you are on track. And say you're on track for 5 or 10% of your day, and the other percentage is maybe seeming a little distorted or not quite on, it's a bit off, and you're feeling it. Keep ask these questions and recenter back to, well, what is creation through you? How is it expressing through you? And so this third sigil and question to ask is going to assist you to go to that space of that mature child, where as a child you would be enthusiastic and curious about the questions, about support around someone else in relationship with you, wanting to take things to a new level, to really ascend as ascendants. Is that not what we are here for? To evolve and be the greatest version of ourselves. So what is the most innocent here? If you were returned back to that 3-year-old before that original trauma, even if you had a photo album of you as that child, happy, just free, what would that innocent one feel like? What would it express? Who would it be? It would be in that curiosity and enthusiasm. So you can see a little bit more structure in this sigil. Receive that. Receive that, because in our innocence, in that mature child, we find more freedom. We lose control, yes, because the separate self, the one that is of what I've called the imposter, which thinks it's in charge, and it's sneaky and will find back doors and keep us connected to that underworld subconscious in a physical sense to keep those chemicals of addiction flowing, and the repeat of traumas as a masochistic tendency, as one who, you know, somehow savors the separation. Is even, you could talk spiritual, read all of the books, do all of the courses, and still hurt yourself. I did it for years. So when we have that innocence return in every moment, when we have those stories arise, we then can come back home again. Home is in that wholeness, it's in that oneness. So I'd like everyone to just focus in on their crown and up above, as though you are connected to this beautiful sapphire ocean of life, which you call it whatever you like. God, the grantor of dominion of this sacred body temple, as this rainbow soul transmitting freedom, bliss, and this sense of an immortal light. And as you connect with that beautiful sapphire, the ocean up above you is this incredible waterfall like diamonds coming from our sun and beyond into the great central sun, with the Halcyon scalar waves, with all of the support of wave meeting the particle of your body, meeting this physical structure, the 1%. And we receive the scalar in order to awaken to more light and sound. Let your body sing, let your brain sing like a crystal bowl, or a flute, or a didgeridoo, or a gorgeous classical guitar, whatever you like. Let your brain and body play in the most harmonious symphony and acoustics. So, beginning right now, we're working on unwinding any tension on the chest and rib cage, any armoring that has been over our beautiful physical human heart and our thymus gland, beautiful center of our soul space. And holding at the back of the heart and the spine as you breathe in the luminous diamond light. And as I do these mudras and the language and the lullabies, it's as though you and I are one. And I'm within you, and you are within me. And so in this moment, in this space, I'm adjusting myself as you. And I feel it so deeply. Mahasu kutanore kumaha mutama shukutitya. And adjusting at the throat, the brain stem here, the medulla oblongata, the mouth of God, where I'm transmitting this lullaby language. As life flows through this space, it becomes creative energy to make those adjustments. It's not me doing it, it is the animation of soul. And becoming aware of the sapphire blue ocean as source supporting you. And the beautiful whales that are present there are witnessing you as unconditional love. Their presence is like the Divine Mother. As I was sharing earlier, we look to the physical human to be our like savior, or put people on pedestals, which would be separation as well. When we look to nature, say a whale, we can feel the mother love right there. Or we look to the ocean as the father, and we receive that to let ourselves be that light and that sound. Ha! So breathe in the luminous diamond waterfall again from the great central sun, and take in all scalar waves, and be aware of this quantum field where the waves are here meeting your physical body, where they're there to assist you with purification, with strength, with illumination of your innate intelligence. And we want to go deep into the spine now, in the back of the heart. Again, as though this diamond waterfall comes through into between the shoulder blades, into the sacred temple. Big breath in with the diamond waterfall, and that awakens as adamantine particles. They sparkle up the bones, and we're also focusing on liquefying the bone, the skull, the fascia, connective tissue, anywhere we've had surgery, anywhere there's been dental concerns, teeth, roots, surgeries in there, anywhere there's been stress or tension, where we've had habits. Let the lullaby dance inside and awaken your deeper connection. This next one is for your inner womb space, the womb of the brain and the womb at the root. So we want to bring a bridge together from the brain here, the human computer system here, to the heart, the sacred heart that represents as neurotransmitters. So this incredible cosmic brain here, deep down into the root, and where for men the hara, for women the womb of creation, the uterus in biological terms. I want you to think of the root down there and the beautiful sacred space of the womb hara as connected to the upper wombs of the brain here. So you have left hemisphere and you have right hemisphere. When they're joined at the corpus callosum, there's a whole other world above. That is the vibration of the pineal and pituitary and the hypothalamus, what some call the third ventricle. When we rise into that space, we're in the upper rooms, and I liken it to being in the womb of creation. And it allows us to have that clairaudience, clairvoyance, the ability for telepathy and to see beyond what this 1% reality represents. So in this lullaby, I want you to breathe in that diamond light, knowing that it's there to purify, and knowing it's there to strengthen your inner acoustics. But go deep into the womb space, the hara, into that creative zone, and I want you to bend and bond the two, brain to root and brain to heart, sacred heart. And noticing that at the back of the heart you have connected the sacred space with your soul. Diamond breath in, scalar waves in. at this atlas and axis, the top two vertebrae. Allowing your soul to sing as bliss from these incredible centers for creation. You feel the opening in the field. And you become that sacred soul conduit, bringing heaven to earth. Yes, you may feel the urge to stretch your jaw open, to yawn a little bit. That's natural. You might even feel the urge to have a little nap after this, and that's also very natural and normal. And the encouragement is to keep returning to that space of innocence, the child within, the mature child here, adults choosing to the conduit of heaven, that musical expression, returning to the awakened state as a child having dominion of this space. The meek shall inherit the earth is within all humans, that sensual, sacred, sensitive, delicate, tender, one that can bring soft tears, and one that can bring a soothing to the bones, soothing to history, and a new beginning, a new birth. With this sapphire ocean as source, being with those loving whales, unconditional love, being with the playful dolphins and their sacred light, lighting this space within you, and in that elevated state of innocence, feeling overflowing with the curiosity again, and with incredible reverence and respect for your soul, like a prostration to your soul. Some people who have been in service a long time and outwardly extending, which can appear as dissociation, are not sure whether they can be selfish or not. It's not an ego selfishness. It's a self-regulating momentum where you are like the Ouroboros snake eating its own tail in creation always, which equals a sense of immortality. It equals giving, receiving all at once. And it's the sweet spot where this joins the Sacred Heart in this field here, this space. Oh. that creates that self-regulating sensation where health and well-being, a sense of safety, a sense of golden presence guides us. This is a transmission that has come spontaneously of a gentle releasing of the past. Gentle, very sweet, just letting go, unattached. And as that kaleidoscope expressing as a sacred mandala, the colors and shapes gently change, and we express a new song, that brighter, more full-bodied expression.
Mahalia, you have lifted us into our multidimensional beingness, really feeling our multidimensionality there. That was exquisite. I feel like I could just float away right now and melt.
Oh, thank you, Lyran. This platform to express is a gift. It's in sacred space, and the light within each of us is meeting in that sacred sweet spot, and it's beautiful. I do want to share with those viewing that before light and sound, there is silence. There's a presence. So much of my work takes place in silence, and I should call it my play, my expression. And from that silent space within is also where we can transmit the this luminosity. And in that, when we choose to feel and sense another, like when I'm doing the adjustments, I sense I am one with everyone. So we're in it together. That in the silent space, in that presence, we can, there seems to be a way to more intimately be that one space. And if, as I'm willing to brighten and lighten, and willing to go into the underworld and my own humanity, my subconscious programs, it's a devotion and dedication for the collective. It's it's just a natural. It's sort of almost like it's not about right or wrong, but it seems like the impulse is there to 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 serve, and yet there's also to be served. But it's not done from the head. It's not an ego thing or a there's not a desire. It's an impulse from the heart. So and that Christ within, so or Christos or Christina, what we call that beautiful beloved Christ awakening within is again back to being the light which in biological terms is really there. Think of the body as crystal, and when we clean the crystal, it sparkles. Sparkles create frequency, which activates photons and luminescence and quarks and greater levels of communication than the sound produces. But first, we come from our soul to this, to and ultimately source, God, Goddess, all that is, the I am.
Thank you so much for your connection and awakening to your song of your soul. Clearly, we heard your higher self coming through there. And so, this is how we develop light language, how we let it flow.
No
So,
judgment.
no judgment. I know it's the judgment for those who begin to start singing or just letting the sound come through. Don't be in the mind and think about the words or the way it sounds. Just do it. That was very loving. And I could feel the healing energy in your voice, and I could feel the mudras as well. I wanted to ask about the sigils that you were showing. When we are connecting in and we're writing the sigil, we're allowing multidimensional information to come through. Can you explain a little bit more about what is going on there? Because that's a healing frequency.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so in the quantum world, from source, that ocean, there are waves, right? So wave is scalar energy. It's life flowing to us. And we're with source as this sapphire blue ocean that is creating the wave, the ripple. The ripple can be the soul. And the soul then animates this body, which then will put this on paper from a soul space, backing up to the original 0 point field or womb of creation where the wave originally came from. And with our human suffering, the focus has been on particle to particle, so physical body to physical body. We will take a vitamin to fix or repair something, which works to a certain extent, yes. Yet if we're not allowing in the wave as well, because the wave and the particle, when they meet, is when creation can spark. What this is coming out as wave is life. And that wave or life then meets the particle of the human body. And it's when they join, it's the sweet spot, which can be ecstatic, that we can awaken the inner intelligence that allows a greater healing take place, or wellness, or wholeness. And so some people, as in for me, the deep dive in with the Lyran High Council and how they represent in my world for so many years as these incredible tall white beings, like selenite. They're the texture of selenite. They're very acoustic, very sensual, and um, delicate, like to the point of like a very fine crystal wine glass. So they help to adjust my hearing to be more able to hear the inaudible realms and then hear life coming through to, say, write one of my programs. That would be about a brain science that I personally would not have think to study, but through a reverent listening and awakening in the ear, the acoustics, they come through by participating with the Lyrans, feeling their love. Then there's the connection to, they guided me to understand the Syrians, the Arcturians, the Orions, the other beings, all the way through the Lemurians, the new civilization, which is a big, I have a big connection there as well, because I often wondered why the great central sun was so strong in my work in these transmissions. So I'm sharing about these beautiful beings because they have been a part of creation in a way, and we can connect with them through love, and then go like even higher to source, which again ultimately it's if we allow it as the wave in the multidimensional field to come through, allow in the surrender and the innocence to let our bodies express it out. Everyone's sigil is going to look differently than what I have here. Everyone's light language is going to sound differently and that's awesome because that's the snowflake of you naturally expressing. So I just want to encourage people not to attach the mind to thinking it needs to look a certain way or be with some galactic being or some angel. It's your soul bliss through the sacred heart connection to source, and that is, oh, like the heart will break open to more love, and it's truly creation flowing through. And like Sarah O'Meara, the faith healer, like I was blessed to have incredible go to incredible services, the Little Chapel in Phoenix. Her and Yvonne Feddersen have been nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. Um, Sarah almost had terminal stomach cancer, and she, after her surgery, was still hooked up and bleeding, opened a paper that said there was a faith healer down the road, and she knew she had to be there. So this is again where synchronicity, serendipity comes in. We want to watch for those signs. She unhooked herself while the doctor's saying, you won't make it if you go. And she followed her instinct, went to the faith healer. The chair was sitting there waiting for her. She had her instant miracle healing because the Holy of Holies came through instantly in that moment. You know, it was a direct connection. She was healed instantly and then went on to be a faith healer for over 42 years now. And through direct connection with Source, and she and Yvonne have saved over 10 million children in the process through Child Help, their organization, and from suffering. And so when we allow that, could you imagine if we all hooked up, we all said yes, we can be one with this, we are worthy of this, that what we can do in this world and to really present as the creators of heaven on earth. So I am so grateful that I got to witness Sarah in her grace, in her 80s now. And so we look to inspiration, right? And to keep getting there, just keep asking the questions, that as long as we are in a human body, we may have thoughts that take us out of that field. But the more we say yes to the field, and the more we look for where is God really, what is the bigger truth here, the more confident we will be in expressing that. So maybe just a matter of trusting and practice and seeing others who are doing this. Jamie Price, for 20 years, she was one of the first transmitting light language and took a lot of flack for it, from 20 years ago when it was so unknown. And thank God for her doing that, because now there's hundreds, if not thousands of people connected like that. And we don't need to do light language or mudras or sigils to say we are one with God at all. is if we are suffering, we are in separation. If we are feeling life and enthusiastic and happy, like my body just feels like it's eternal right now. It's pure light and sound, no discomfort, just if flowing self-regulation. If we're feeling that, we're on track, I would say.
Oh, we are feeling it. We are feeling it. I'm ready to go and in my own privacy work on like toning or light language or singing. It's really very, very amazing. And I think I shared with you before that I did have an experience where I remembered a Lemurian aspect because of the work that we were talking about with you.
Mm.
And it was really healing. So, this is it. Yes, we can all imagine this world of beautiful creation, connection to the higher self. That's why we're putting on this beautiful course with all these other courses
Mm.
on this, because I see that world and we're moving closer and closer to it. And when we can get out of the underworld of the subconscious and really truly understand what's going on and feel this soul bliss, it is great strides for New Earth, and New Earth is here that way. It is so beautiful. So, I wanted to say, what a powerful tool you've given everyone with this sigil. So, can you share a little bit more about like the type of pens that you use? Because we could get really creative there too, right? Don't limit ourselves.
Yes. Well, this was done with some simple, colorful Sharpies. You know, thicker, fatter ones, and I've got thinner ones, and a rainbow selection of colors. Someone could use pencil crayons to, yeah, Sharpies, paint if they like. Um, Again, for me, I don't go too deep into detail. I really like to keep it simple. All of a sudden, a white piece of paper shows up, the felts are right there, the hand picks up the color, it does its thing, and puts that color down. Next color, So trusting instinct, trusting impulse. That's where I feel is the bigger point here, because we could take a month to get set up with all the supplies, in a way avoiding it. Just, you know, I understand, like, people like to be very careful, and it's got to, they want to be comfortable, absolutely. But in that childlike state, just start with scribbling. Find just maybe even with a pen and a little nice piece of paper, even in a journal, let, and some people might switch hands. I'm left-handed naturally, but I'm a bit ambidextrous. So if it feels right, switch hands and try the other hand and see what kind of art comes out. And by doing that, also you're linking the hemispheres nicely.
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you for that. Thank you, thank you. And I know everyone's going to be really bringing this higher self, soul light through, multidimensional information through, and the answers to those questions. Thank you. We have just a few minutes, and you are a beautiful teacher for people who want to go deep and dive deep within and connect even more deeply with their inner knowingness and this soul bliss. You've got a course coming up. It's called Taming the Anxiety Dragon. Tell us about this. What's going on?
Mm. And hey, it sounds like a really strong segue from Soul Bliss. And it is in a way, although if we think about the dragon as one of the most mystical creatures, and what the dragon represents when it's in its wholeness inside of us, the dragon as that mysterious force, as one that um, is got superpowers, has the ability for great creation and potential, the sense of protection, um, primordial energy, which would be root and up to the power of the brain. And when the dragon within is is not tamed, let's say, which would be we haven't gone into the underworld and the subconscious. We haven't looked at where a lot of our patterns come from and why we keep hurting ourselves or hurting others, or getting in the way of our soul gifts and soul expression, which can be very uncomfortable. Is we want to look under at the depths of the dragon who is not aligned with that spine, with that brain of that human. And what has taken place for me over these years is the system of the brain through brain bliss and understanding that. And the next level is the system of going deep into the underworld, which I never imagined that would be where I needed to go. But nature again reveals itself in seeing snakes and seeing, how we would look at what a snake would mean to some people as a, underworld creature. To the commitment to ascend out of the pain body. So there's millions of people on the planet that may be still running around with unresolved trauma that then end up hurting others, rather than using their potency, which would be the awakening of the golden dragon within, which would be using all the elements, earth, air, fire, ether, water, as a way to serve and be served. Just as I did with the sigils, the language, the lullabies, and the mudras. We return to the golden presence within, which we can. I like visuals. Thinking about it as a dragon, that instead of scorching out with fire, which could be words that people use that may not be there in the highest realm for creation, to scorching the self, to unhook from those subconscious underworld patterns, and in fact have a look at them, which a lot of my clients, they take my hand and I lovingly guide them in there. And what's amazing is it's with, if we look at it as shadow and frequency and we just put a bit of light into it, it pretty much unravels and dissolves very effortlessly and efficiently. And that's how this works and what is within this program. It's 4 1-hour transmission sessions. They're pre-recorded that are guiding people into those spaces to unwind and rise up. So from anxiety, stress, tension, suppression, hurting oneself, to the light, to the golden presence within, to the happy inner dragon, to the one who is sovereign in their higher brain, to the one who is with God, the grantor of dominion, who is in that innocence, in that childlike space. Many of my clients have had horrific traumas. I think I've heard maybe the worst of the worst, and I love them so deeply, love their innocence, and see their wholeness automatically be way beyond the hurts that they have endured. And it's not saying that any of it was acceptable at all, but when one is willing to see beyond the personality or their pain body and into their wholeness, we go through what's called time reversal transparency, which means we go to the original divine light of the DNA, and from that place the body comes open. It reveals itself as wholeness. So I'm going going on a bit of a tangent here. Yes, that's kind of what it is.
Thank you so much for that. You are a beautiful teacher of this, and it is really amazing, this deep, deep journey for self-love and back into wholeness. So beautiful, offering this lesson for all of us. It really is important work, and it is your higher self coming in and guiding that higher self, guiding other higher selves into action. That is
Mm.
so wonderful, Mahalia. That course is all down here on this webpage that we're looking at, and it is coming up. So we invite all of our viewers and listeners to check that out and join you in that very special course. Thank you so much for putting that together. And thank you so much for this course today that really has given us multi-dimensional tools on a whole new level. I know I'm smiling from ear to ear, and I know we're feeling this soul bliss. I mean, I'm feeling it. I've got goosebumps. It is so important. And I honor you so much, Mahalia, for doing this work. It is truly exquisite. Thank you.
Thank you, Lyran. Thank you, everyone. I want to share just in the program, there will be lots of transmissions in there for adjustments, for purification as well.
It's a transformational transmission. Thank you from the sonic shaman who's teaching us all how to be that sonic shaman and share and dance with our light and sound within. Mahalia Michael, thank you, thank you, thank you.